Hi everyone, this is Mundan Raghavan. Before starting the video, I would like to wish each and every one of you for the Happy New Year 2021. So hope the 2021 will be good and we will have a great learning and great lifestyle. Okay, we will start today video. So today video is all about defer, panic and recover. Obviously you can refer this for the current year and coming year as well. Why? Because in 2020 we got the panic such as like Corona, and after that we deferred so many our plans for the next year or next coming days. Then we are going to recover in 2021. So in simple words, it also refers to our current situation about the panic and defer and recover. Nevertheless, it's not going about to discuss on the Corona and coming year. We are going to discuss on the error handling part 2 in Go language. In Go language, the unexpected errors will be handled with the keywords defer, panic, and recover in general. So what is defer, what is panic, and what is recover? That we are going to discuss in this video. So first we will understand the differ. So differ in the sense, as the name suggests, we are differing some actions or some functions in later point of time. That means that we are going to deal with that in a later time. So what happens in a general way? So before starting with the coding, we will understand about the differ function in a pictorial representation. In simple time, you will just have the main go routine. It will call the main function, and main function will be executing some of the functions. For example, here we can see a function. After executing the f functions, in simple, whatever the lines you have coded inside the f function, that will be executed. After completing your f function, it will be returning to the main function, and main function will continue to see any other documents or any other, let's say, the code lines are available inside your main function. If it is there, it will be executing those lines, or otherwise it will be moving to the end of the main function. And the main function will be completing and comes out of the total program flow. This is the general flow of the main program, or let's say main function. So what is differ? So differ, whenever you have the keyword called differ in front of the function, those functions will be added to the list. In simple, you can consider like a stack. So for example, here if you see the second line, the main function starts and you have the function call, but however, you have the differ keyword in front of the function. So that means that it will be getting added to the list. Here you can see it is getting added to the bottom of the stack. Then after you have the call function for f, so the f function will be executed. Then after you are deferring another function df2, so that will be added to the stack again. Then after completing this differ function, or let's say differ call, you will be coming end of the main function, you don't have anything. So it will complete the main function, then it will go to the list of deferred functions. The deferred functions works in the way like last in first out. So last in was df2. The df2 will be executed, then df1 will be executed, then the total program will be completed. So this is the way the differ works. In simple, wherever you have the function call or the statements with the prefix called differ keyword, then that will be added to the list. The list will be acting like a stack so that you whatever the last in, the first out will be there. So here if you see this flow diagram, the main function starts and adds the df1 to the list, and the f function will be executed. Then after differs keyword is there, so it will be the df2 will be added to the list, completes the main function and runs all the deferred functions from the last. So that means the last in first out. And what about panic? So panic is something like your real-time exception in other languages. In general, panic you will be creating, let's say if the program should not be continued at all, so that time you will be creating the panic. And panic is the inbuilt function. You can create the panic by yourself. In other words, there are the pre-existing functionalities that also will be creating the panic by inside that. For example, here you can see normal flow we have discussed. So normally main function will be called and inside whatever function or statements will be executed and the main function will be completed. In case of panic, let's say the example, main function will be called. Inside the main function, you are deferring df1. The df1 will be added to the list and you are calling the f function. Inside the f function, somewhere you are calling the panic, or the real other functions getting inside the f function is calling the panic. Because of that, the function interrupts there itself and it comes out of the total program flow. Then after what happens is, still it comes out of the flow, it goes to the, let's say, deferred functions, it will execute that. So this is the way deferred functions will be executed all the times even though panic happens. If you are from other languages, you can consider this deferred functions just like a finally block. Okay, what happens in this flow? The main function will be called and a differ function is there. So it will be added to the list. And after f function is there, somewhere inside the f function panic happens. So the panic message will be displayed to you. And after the program abruptly stops. But however it stops, it goes to the deferred functions list or deferred statements. It will execute one by the order last in first out. Then it comes out of the program. In both the scenarios above and below, it panic happens. Sorry, actually the above scenario, there is no panic, only defer happens. In the below scenario, panic happens. So whenever the panic happens, the total program stops there itself and it directly jumps to the list of deferred functions. Then what about recover? So in above scenario, we are not recovering from the panic, right? In this scenario, what we are going to do is like, we are going to defer some function. Inside the defer function or inside the deferred function, you will have the recover. So that means that in another thumb rule is the recover can be used only inside the deferred functions. Why? Because the recovered functions will have some value only in case of any panic happens. Obviously that if panic happens, remaining execution will not be executed, so that all the functions will be going to the deferred functions or the control will be going to the deferred functions, right? So definitely we should have some recover operation inside your, let's say, the deferred functions. In case if you have the recover operation in the normal functions, which does not have the defer keyword, obviously recover method will not return anything because there is no panic inside that. So in simple words, we can understand recover can be used inside the deferred function, so it will be effective. For just considering the recover function, the main program starts and defer you are deferring one function df1. Inside the df1, you have the recover statement. So what is recover statement? How it looks like that we will be seeing in the coding section. Just consider the deferred function. Inside that it has the recover option. Then obviously when you continue with the f function, inside that panic happens, the program stops abruptly. Since you have already added the deferred, let's say, function already to the list, so the df1 will be there. The df1 will be taken, and inside the df1 you have the recover function. So recover function, obviously since the panic happens, the panic information will be covered inside the recover return value, so that you will not have nil value inside the recover return value. So what happens is you will have something. So from there you can continue the whatever the recovery operation you want to do, you can do inside the recover. So here we can see the program flow. The main function starts and you are deferring one function. Inside the deferred function, you have the recover statement inbuilt, or you can type it by yourself. And after that, you have the panic inside your function. The program stops. Since you have already added the df1, it will be executed. It will be checking the recover. Inside the recover, you have the value because panic happened. Then you will be doing some recovery operation and you will smoothly complete your program. So this is the way defer, panic, and recover happens. Even though we have seen the pictorial representation, we will understand one by one inside the program flow and we will see what happens with each scenario. Now we will go to the playground. We will see the simple function before starting anything else. So now we have the package main and we have the import statement fmt and we have the function main and we have the simple statement welcome new year 2021. That is the function and I have defined this function here. It is just getting the name and it is telling the welcome notation. And after that we have the print statement I am main, and after I am calling the buy function, and after that it will be displaying the buy and whatever the name you are giving there. So if I run this one, you can clearly it is going line by line. So welcome and after that fmt I am main, and after that calling the buy function. So the buy function will be having buy and the 2020. That is the name we have sent, challenging 2020. Now what happens? First we will understand the differ. If the program does not have any differ keyword, the line by line sequential execution will be happening. Wherever you find the differ, that statement or that function will be added to the list. For example, now I just add the differ function here and try to run this. Now you can see here, as soon as it reaches a differ welcome, this line or this functional will not be executed. It will be added to the list. That's the reason you are not seeing the welcome New Year 2021. You are just seeing the next line, which is nothing but I am main inside the your console output. Then after it is executing the buy function, because it is the direct statement and it does not have any differ. Now the main function has completed. Now it will go to the list. Since you added first differ welcome function, the function will be executed now. Now you are seeing hi welcome New Year 2021. What happens if you had differ here as well? Now here you can see, now I have executed the main function. So main function started the differ function. So it will not execute. It will be added to the list. Then the I am main is the statement directly it is being executed. Then after I am just deferring the another function challenging 2020. It is also getting added to the list. Now you can clearly understand the buy function is the last function that was added to the list. That's the reason after completing the main function, it is taking the last in, which is nothing but buy function. And you are seeing buy challenging 2020. Then after it is getting the next function which we added in the first time. So welcome function New Year 2021. So that is being displayed. So in this way, we can clearly understand it is working in the last in first out concept. So now it's clear that we have created the differ function so that we are ordering or we are just after the main execution, we are just executing the all the deferred functions. Now we are going to discuss on the panic. So for simple, so the panic. So first, before starting anything else, we will just see how the inbuilt panic works. For example, here, I will just some more line. Here it is a slice of integer array and it has only 3 elements. But if I try to access the fourth element, obviously you will get the index out of error. So it will rise on panic. So that panic will be coming from your system program or nothing but your inside the Go language. I will run this one. And here you can see the panic runtime error index out of range 4. Actually, it has only length 3. So to avoid confusion, I will just remove this because we are going to create panic by ourselves so that we will understand what happens actually. Now what happens? So now let's say I am just going to create one panic. Panic is the inbuilt method. So before starting, I will just give some general definition about defer, panic, and recover. So defer statement pushes a function call onto a list that we have seen already. Deferred functions calls are executed in last in first out, that also we have seen, and we have understood by the code execution with itself. And panic is the inbuilt function that stops the ordinary flow of control and begins panic. And recover is the built-in function that regains control of the panic go routine. So recover is only useful inside the deferred functions because normally during the normal execution that recover will return the nil value, so there is no effect. We will see that one. So now I am going to create one panic. So just the first line itself I will create the panic. So now you can see, just run this program. Here can directly see, sorry, go wait executed. Okay, panic. So we got the panic error. Whatever we have weird error, so we are getting that one. Since you have mentioned the first line itself panic, so you don't add any deferred functions inside the list. So that's the reason you are not seeing any execution of the deferred functions. Let's say I am creating the panic as soon as I added the first deferred function, which is nothing but welcome. Now you can clearly see it differs a function, it creates the panic. Even though it creates a panic, even though it comes out of the flow, it will go to the deferred functions list. Since you have already added the welcome function, still it executes the welcome function, then only it shows the weird error or the panic. So that's the reason the placement of the panic matters, because if you add already something before the panic statement or before the panic happens, those deferred functions will be handled properly. So what happens when you really call the panic? When you call the panic function will create some object that will be available inside your recover function call. For simple example, let's see with the same, we'll just add some statement. Here you can see before welcome function. I'm adding to the welcome function. Why? Because since I have added this welcome function before the panic happens, definitely after panic happens, this function will be executed. But when you execute these functions with panic, this recover operation will be giving value to the R, and R will not be nil. So that means that it will have some value. What is the value? In our case, it is the weird error. So in that case, you can handle those scenarios by using this if loop by checking the R or recover return value. For example, now what happens is, now I will call this function, just I will execute. Now you can see there is no panic. Why? Because now let's see the program flow. Now we will start with the main function. You are deferring the welcome function. It is getting added to the list. And note that you have the welcome function, inside that you have the recover operation as well. So that means that whenever panic happens, it will be handling. Okay, fine. So now, as expected, we are creating the panic in the, let's say, line number 12. It panic happens, so the program flow stops and it goes to the deferred list. In deferred list, we have the welcome function. Since panic happens, the recover function will return some value, and that value definitely will not be nil because the panic really happened. Then you are printing that, so you are printing welcome. So the print statement from the welcome is being displayed here. So the same scenario, I will just remove this panic error and let's see what happens. Now you can clearly see there is no statement from the if loop. Why? Because let's say when you defer the function, it's getting added to that and there is no panic, then I am main is being displayed. And after that, you are deferring the another function, which is nothing but by. Okay, fine. Then what happens is the first function challenging 2020 is being displayed after the I am main. Then after it is calling the welcome function. In welcome function, you are just calling hi welcome and the welcome 2021. Then after it checks the recover function. In recover function, there is nothing panic happen. That's the reason you are not getting anything inside the R. So that means that R becomes nil. Since it became nil, you don't have any print statement, it becomes false, so it comes out of the loop. So that's the reason the panic and the defer and the, let's say, another functions will be useful only in case of panic. So defer inside the recover. I have just have another link that it will be useful to understand more on the, let's say, recover and panic. There is a lot more discussion over here. So here you can see it has the detailed explanation about the defer statement, and as soon as you come for the panic and recover, all those things are available. But however, in basically we will understand. So main function, it continues the normal flow. Wherever you use the defer, it will be getting added to the list and it will be taken out last in first out concept. So whenever you have the panic will stop the program execution abruptly. Even though it stops abruptly, it goes to the all the deferred functions that you added previously. Then it will execute one by one by using the concept LIFO. If you have some recover concept inside your deferred function, then based on the panic, you can handle that code by using the recover method. So this is the way we can combine the panic, defer and recover together, and we can manage properly the error messages and the panics. So this is all about the defer, panic and recover inside the Go language. So thanks all, thanks for watching, and once again wish you happy new year 2021.